everyone, this is the second episode of the Budget Drams Whisky Reviews. I'm Lee and today I'm going to be reviewing the Glenmorangie 10-year-old original. Now as you can see, it comes in a really bright orange colour, and I think the marketing team at Glenmorangie have done a really good job here. I think they've got it spot on, because this whisky is readily available in most major supermarkets, and when I look up onto the shelves, the first thing I see is the Glenmorangie. So yeah, I think they've got absolutely spot on this one. Now I must admit, I've only been drinking whiskey for about a year or so, and I did try this quite early on in my whiskey journey, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. I wasn't that impressed, but back then I didn't really appreciate whiskey as much as I do now. So I thought, why not give it another try? So here we are. So it's bottled at 40%. If you're in another country, it might be higher, but here in the UK, you can only get it at 40%. And it doesn't say anything on the box that it is non-chill filtered or does not have any food colouring added. So on that basis, you have to assume that it does. Maybe because it's bottled at 40%, then that might be the reason why. So should we take a look at the history of the distillery? Located on the banks of the Dornoch Firth in the Northern Highlands in Tain, Ross-shire, Glenmorangie was founded in 1843 by William Matheson, with operations starting in 1849. The distillery employed 16 men to help with the production of the whisky, and paid homage to those men by including a sentence on each bottle, the 16 men of Tain. From 1918, they were owned by MacDonald and Muir for almost 90 years, and in 2004, they were taken over by Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy for approximately £300 million, and in 2008, they increased the staff from 16 to 24. The signet emblem, which you see on every single bottle of Glenmorangie, is from a carving called the Hilton of Cadboll Stone. This was created by the Picts in the late British Iron Age and early medieval periods. Glenmorangie are unique as they boast the tallest copper stills in the whole of Scotland. They measure 8 metres high, which is 26 feet and a quarter inches, with the necks at 5.14 metres, and this equates to 16 feet 10 and a quarter of inches. They say it's the height of these stills which help keep the whisky consistent, making it a smoother, more elegant dram. The water is sourced from the Tarlogie Springs in the Tarlogie Hills. In the 1980s, there was talk about possible building development around the springs, which could have reduced the quality and quantity of the water. To combat this, they bought around 600 acres of land around and including the springs to prevent any development. As well as owning the springs, Glenmorangie also owned the forest in the Ozark Mountains in the Missouri area of USA. It is the oak from these trees which is used for the barrels. Once made, they are left to air for 2 years and then leased to Jack Daniels and Heaven Hill to mature their bourbon in before being shipped to Scotland, where the single malt will then be matured in for a minimum of 10 years. The barley grain is supplied by Highland Grain Limited, and this is an accumulation of farmers in the area. The Glenmorangie 10-year-old original is the base whisky which is produced at this distillery. And as well as this, they also produce an age statement extra matured range, and this includes an 18 and 25-year-old expressions. They also produce a non-age statement range. For this, they will use a whisky for the original, and once matured for 10 years, they will finish the whisky in different cask types to make alternative expressions. These being Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez sherry casks to make a Lasanta for an additional 2 years, Ruby port casks to make a Quinta Ruben, and this comes in 12 and 14-year expressions, and lastly, Sauterne wine casks to make Nectar d'Or for an additional 6 years. It is these expressions which make the core range. Glenmorangie, which translates into Scottish Gaelic as Glen of Tranquility, is often mispronounced as Glenmorangie, where in fact the second part of the name is supposed to be pronounced and sound like Orangie. Therefore, the correct pronunciation is Glenmorangie. And for decades, Glenmorangie has been one of the best-selling single malt whiskies in Scotland. So let's take a look at the bottle, shall we? So here we go. As you can see, I've already had quite a few drams out of the whisky already. Now, I never judge or review a whisky whilst the level of it is still in the neck, or as soon as I opened it, sorry. I always wait until it's at least shoulder level or below. So I think now's the perfect time to give it a review. So like I said, it's 40%. Now, I think the bottle's a really nice design. I don't know if it's got anything to do with the current owners. Maybe, who knows. But yeah, I think it's quite appealing to the eye, is this bottle. So, I don't know if you can see, but like I said in the history, here is the signet emblem for the Cadboll Stone. And just here is where it mentions the 16 men attain. So let's give it a try. It's always nice to hear a really good popping sound. Now, always pour your whiskey into a fresh glass. So let's have a look at the colour. Looks like a nice pale straw colour to me. And as I swill it around, it's got some legs, but not a great deal, so it doesn't look that oily. So it's probably a nice light whiskey, I would say. So just add a little bit of water. Alright, let's have a look at the nose. Now, when your nose in a whiskey, don't put your nose right in, because you'll end up burning your nose, the inside of your nose. Just put it just to the level where you can just start to smell the aromas. Now I can get hints of vanilla and honey. Just keep swirling it around. Get fresh fruit, get peaches, you can get green fruits as well, like apples and pears. Maybe a bit of citrus. Now when you're nosing, I'd also recommend just to have your mouth open just a tiny bit. So let's give it a taste. The vanilla's still there. There's also some toffee and butterscotch, so that's where the sweetness is coming in. A little spicy. You can get some cloves and cinnamon. I'm getting a fresh fruit again. And oranges. Again, I'm getting a vanilla on the finish. And in the nose, I could get apples and pears. But on the finish, I can specifically get apple peel. Not the fruit itself, but just the peel. You can also get some fresh grass and some straw and hay. So overall, I really like this dram. It's a really nice whiskey. And I can see why Glenmorangie use this as their base whiskey. It's a really good place to start if you're a beginner as well. Although I didn't appreciate it when I first started. Maybe I should have done. So let's move on to the score, shall we? So on the nose, the palate and the finish, I'm going to give it an 8.5 for each out of 10. Now the price, managed to get this for £25 on sale on Amazon, which I think is an absolute bargain. If you can get it for that price, then definitely buy yourself a bottle or two. Usual prices are around about the £35 mark. Well, even at that price, it's a really good deal as well. But definitely, if you can get it for 25, I'd definitely recommend it. So I'm going to give the score on price an 8 out of 10. Overall enjoyment, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. It's very light and warming. And it reminds me of walking through a meadow while walking the dogs, while the sun's going down. And I think this would be perfect to drink sat in the garden on a nice summer's evening while the sun's setting. So would I recommend this whiskey? Definitely. So there you go. I hope you liked my review. Do you agree with me? If so, or if not, let me know in the comments. Give me a like and share. And don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date on all of my reviews. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Take care, stay safe, and Slanjavar.